Welcome to Amplify Family Medicine, the official podcast by the Alabama Academy of Family Physicians. In each episode, we dive into the challenges, triumphs, and innovative practices that shape family medicine across our state. Whether you are a medical professional, a student with an interest in family medicine, or simply a health-conscious listener, Amplify Family Medicine promises to provide invaluable insights and inspire action. Let's amplify the impact of family physicians in Alabama together.
Hi and welcome. I'm your guest host for this episode, Mandy Milligan. Today, we're talking to Dr. Steven Furr, Dr. Brittney Anderson, and Ryleigh Randall. Dr. Furr is a family physician in Jackson, Alabama, and the president of the American Academy of Family Physicians. The AAFP represents 130,000 physicians and medical students nationwide. As AAFP president, Dr. Furr advocates on behalf of family physicians and patients to inspire positive change in the U.S. healthcare system. Dr. Anderson was just installed as the president of the Alabama chapter of the Academy of Family Physicians, and her vision for the future of the organization marks the beginning of what promises to be an inspiring and transformative tenure. Dr. Anderson operates Anderson Family Care in Demopolis, Alabama, where she combines her role as physician with the responsibilities of ownership. Ryleigh Randall was elected as Alabama's student chapter president. Ryleigh is known for her dedication and leadership in the medical student community and is expected to bring fresh ideas and energy to the chapter. She is an aspiring physician, currently pursuing her medical degree at the University of South Alabama College of Medicine with an expected graduation date of May 2025. All right, everyone, let's get into it. Can you provide our listeners with an overview of the Alabama Academy of Family Physicians and its core mission?
As we mentioned earlier, the AAFP, which is the American Academy of Family Physicians, is the national organization of over 130,000 students, residents, and practicing physicians. So Alabama is one of those chapters. We have a chapter in all 50 states. So in Alabama, we have almost 2,000 family physicians, resident physicians, and student members across Alabama. And we're excited. We just celebrated our 70th anniversary. The AAFP, the National Academy, has celebrated their 75th anniversary. So we actually have a long history of representing family physicians. So we advocate on behalf of our members, both here in the state legislature and throughout the halls of Congress in Washington, D.C., about legislation that impacts family physicians and also our patients, making sure they're getting the best care possible.
And what have been the biggest achievements of the Alabama Academy in the last few years?
I think one of the things we're really excited about is there are a shortage of primary care residency slots. So the first time last year that ever happened, the state actually funded some primary care residency slots, and we hope that will continue. We also have a teaching healthcare center here in Alabama, which we think that's very important. We find that residents and students that tend to train in community health centers tend to stay where they train, so we want to keep more physicians in Alabama. Of course, we're continuing to fight with the scope, what we call scope creep legislation, encroaching on family medicine. We have a very broad practice of what we do. Others are always trying to do what we do without the same training. So we think it's very important that we protect that because we think it's not only good for our patients, but also good for medicine along with that. So I'm actually the president of the American Academy of Family Physicians. It's hard to believe that our state has had actually 4 members have been president of the American Academy of Family Physicians, 2 in just the last 10 years. So it shows in the state, we're not only a leader at the state level, but we're also a leader at the national level too. I think that's one of the important things about our Alabama Academy. We're not leaders just in family medicine. We're leaders throughout the medical association. The past president for the Medical Association was a family physician. The Medical Association, their delegation to the AMA, both the chair and vice chair of that delegation are family physicians. So it shows that we lead in all areas of medicine in the state.
Are there any upcoming projects or programs that the Alabama Academy is excited about?
Yeah, I'll take that one. We are actually really excited about a couple things this year and in the coming years. One of our big focuses as a state academy is really to make sure that we're engaging currently practicing physicians as well as residents as well as students also. And so We are excited about this new podcast and the continuation of this podcast in months and years to come. We also are working on establishing an Alabama Academy peer-reviewed journal, and that one will be a good opportunity just for our membership to get more information and to continue learning, but also an avenue for students and residents and practicing physicians to get published in a peer-reviewed journal. So we're excited about those things. Are excited about really getting out to our local or state medical schools and residency programs to continue engagement of our students and residents in the field of family medicine and in opportunities to stay and practice family medicine in the state of Alabama.
And looking at the broader perspective, what are the Alabama Academy's main goals for the next few years, especially concerning resident engagement and community health improvement?
Right. And so we are, really wanting to work hard on teaching residents and young practicing physicians about the business of medicine. It's one of those things that in the last couple of years has started to be taught a little bit more in the medical school and residency programs, but we want to remind students and residents of the ability and capability to go into private practice if that's something that they're interested in. We want to talk with them about negotiating contracts for those who will go into employed practice, to talk about managing medical school debt. So these things that are truly, the business of medicine, we hope to encourage and be able to work more with our students on. We have several new opportunities within the state. Here in Demopolis, where I practice, there's the Alabama School of Healthcare Sciences that is being started in the coming years. And we're really excited also to kind of continue that pipeline of students to work on really engaging high school age students, college students, medical students, and residents in the field of medicine. We continue to encourage our residents and young physician sections to be engaged in the policy of healthcare, as Dr. Furr mentioned earlier. So, several things that put us on a statewide and national scope that we're looking into now.
And what advice do you have for medical students or residents considering a career in family medicine in Alabama?
So from a medical student perspective, I think the best advice that I could give is to just be all in. If you're passionate about primary care, if you want to be able to have that kind of impact on the communities that we live in and serve here in Alabama, go all in. Don't shy away from opportunities to get involved in your community, whether that's volunteering through your medical school or through organizations that are present in your community. When you have your eyes open, your ears open, and you're in tune to the needs of your community, you can find ways to be useful. Even as a student, you can have an impact. And if someone is interested in primary care, I would definitely encourage to get involved in your community early, not just because one, it's important to show that as medical students, we have the capacity to be leaders, but more than that, being able to have a positive impact in your community is so important. It allows us to get that inspiration to continue working hard. Medical school isn't easy, residency isn't easy, but when you know why you're doing it and you know that your larger goal is to take care of the people in your community, it makes it easier to push through some of those tougher days. And ultimately you get back what you give. So if you are willing to invest in yourself, invest in your community, and make yourself and the people around you better, that is going to pay off in spades. And we certainly need more family medicine physicians in our state who are willing to really commit to advocating for our communities.
If I could add what Ryleigh said, if somebody is thinking about practice state of Alabama, there's a couple of unique things in Alabama that really makes it financially good to practice in Alabama. One, in Alabama for a number of years, and the Alabama Academy of Family Physicians has really been the lead on this, is that if you practice in a rural underserved area, you get a state tax credit for 5 years. So the state income tax in Alabama is 5%. So you don't pay any state income taxes for 5 years. Also, the governor has a special tax, actually a refund of $50,000 a year for 3 years if you practice in a rural underserved area. So for a resident coming out with a lot of debt, that's $150,000 you can get back in 3 years. So it really makes it very economically feasible for you to stay and practice in Alabama.
It's fantastic. What a great reward, I guess, for having to go through all the school and everything. So it's very fantastic for the state of Alabama. For our listeners who are interested in joining the AAFP, what are the best ways for them to get involved?
Right, so I'll start that one. So for our Alabama Academy, we certainly are interested in having students and residents engage with us. For students, and Ryleigh may talk a little bit more about this, but we've got FMIG groups, so interest groups that we'll ask her to talk a little bit more about. But also here in the state, we encourage medical students, residents, family physicians who are out practicing to really take part in the Alabama AFP Legislative Day on the Hill. And so that's done at the Alabama State House. And it's just a really good opportunity for us as future and current family docs in the state to engage with our legislators about the needs, issues, and our concerns with healthcare in the state.
And speaking to the FMIGs, so the Family Medicine Interest Groups, they're a great way to kind of have your finger on the pulse of what's happening in family medicine in our state. All of the medical schools in Alabama have great groups to get involved with if you're a medical student who's interested in learning more about family medicine, learning more about primary care. It's a great first step in getting involved with your local schools group. And then speaking of the Alabama State Conference, if students who are interested in attending conference and who want to get involved, the Alabama AFP provides really excellent scholarship opportunities that can cover lodging to attend the conference. I was fortunate enough to receive one of those this summer and got to attend conference, and it was a phenomenal experience. It gives students one really fantastic hands-on training. We had a whole hour session on point of care ultrasound, which is invaluable to us as students, as that's not always something we get to get a lot of hands-on experience with. We had lectures on interpreting EKGs and managing heart failure patients, and all things that are academically enriching. But I think one of the best parts was all the residency program directors in Alabama coming together and taking the time to meet with us as students. And this wouldn't have been possible without the Alabama AFP providing these scholarships. So as next year comes around and it gets close to conference time again, I would really encourage students to check on the Alabama AFP website for the application to apply for one of the scholarships to attend conference. It's a really great opportunity.
And one thing to remember when you do have a membership, we have a unified membership. So if you're a member of the state, you're also going to be a member of the National Academy too. But one thing, Ryleigh, I think is a real benefit for students and residents is you get the American Family Physician Magazine, which is one of the best medical journals out there. In fact, I have physicians and other specialties like internal medicine, pediatrics. They join the American Academy of Family Physicians just so they can get that journal.
And there are so many perks to being a member of the American Academy as well. The journal is a big one that you mentioned. There also are resources that are there that speak on, practice of medicine and wealth management and other things that we may not get in our training, but that the American Academy has realized is important to us as physicians, particularly as family physicians. There are toolkits there that you can use in practice. There's great patient information. So much that's available to us being a member. And again, like Dr. Furr mentioned, when you're a member of the state, you're a member of the American Academy as well. And so we really do encourage, those who are watching or listening to this podcast who are not current Alabama and American Academy members to think about joining us. We are excited and are engaged and looking to do some kind of fun, innovative things over the next couple of years. So come on and join us.
And is there anything else you'd like to share about the Alabama Academy, its initiatives, or the future of family medicine in Alabama and beyond?
Well, I'll say that the future is bright and we are excited and we're engaged. We think about family medicine as a specialty, and we certainly are a special group of physicians who are uniquely trained and prepared to take care of the entire family. We have the ability to advocate for our practice and for our patients, for our specialty and for our patients. And, we are encouraging again, anyone who's interested in joining us to go ahead and join the academy and join the state and national chapter, the state chapter and national academy, but also to be engaged if you're interested in leadership positions, or if you're interested in coming out to our day on the Hill. If you have thoughts of things that we can do or should do within the state academy, we welcome those, and so we're happy to have you. I'll let Ryleigh and Dr. Furr add anything else they have today.
From a medical student perspective, I 100% agree. I think the future is very bright for family medicine in our state. In my role as student chapter president, I've had the privilege of getting to interact with students from across our state and across our different medical schools in Alabama. And this new generation of family medicine physicians that are coming up, our students are so passionate about primary care in Alabama, about equitable care, giving patients the care that they need, advocating for our communities, and really taking care of the people of Alabama. Every time I have the pleasure of interacting with some of our other Alabama students, I'm so encouraged and so excited by the energy, the passion, not just for medicine, but for specifically family medicine. And the phrase that a lot of us like to use is cradle to grave, taking care of people and families in all stages of their life. And we have a new crop of students who are very excited to enter this field. And like Dr. Anderson said, the future is very bright.
Like Ryleigh says, if you really want to have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of people, family medicine is really where it's at. And I think the great thing about family medicine, you can have as broad a practice as you want to, doing everything from delivering babies to taking care of people in the nursing home, to having a very narrow practice and just doing reproductive health or just doing HIV medicine. I tell students and residents when they make the decision to go into other specialties, they go through a door and that door narrows and their opportunities get less and less. Where they can practice gets less and less. When you go into family medicine, that door narrows. There's no limits of where you can go and where you can be. And it's a great opportunity. And in fact, for many family physicians, their career will change over time and they have that opportunity to move in different levels. So it is really a great opportunity.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you all for your participation on today's show. If you would like to join AAFP, go to aafp.org and be sure to subscribe to our podcast and get notified when a fresh episode hits the web. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.